Hello, beautiful family. How are you all doing? Thank you for the love and the support. So, my beautiful people, today I have a quick one to share with you. What does the normally session never end? See, it's all about the Biafra declaration. I'm carrying you along everything, details that is happening right there. So, there is every reason why you need to subscribe to Progress the Analyst because I'm here to give you all the updates. Thank you so much as we keep start on everything that is happening right now. And I'll be right back.
Thank you. Thank you for that very generous introduction from the Minister of Finance. Please give him a round of applause for his tireless dedication to the government, and I appreciate his tremendous support. I also want to provide thanks to the Supreme Leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to the Prime Minister, His Excellency Simon Ekpa, to the Chief of Staff, Dr. Uro Boezi, and all of the honorable cabinet ministers we have here today. To all the dignitaries, and most importantly to the people of Biafra. Thank you. I also want to provide my personal wishes and prayers for the Prime Minister and his family during this challenging time, and will support him to see him through this moment of challenge. I also want to pass along the regards of my colleague, former Congressman Jim Moran, who wanted to come but could not do so due to some personal obligations. I just want to speak extemporaneously for a moment. I didn't write my speech, but I just want to make some comments about how I got involved in this wonderful movement, in the struggle, because I do think, looking back retroactively, I think there was a divine providence that brought me into this. So it was very interesting. I've known about Biafra for some years. I knew about the indigenous people of Biafra, the IPOB, was not involved. One day, by complete accident, online, when doing some research, I came across this Biafra Republic Government Exile website, and I was very surprised. I thought to myself, when did a Biafra government come into being? So I clicked on the website, I looked through it, I became more and more interested, and then I came across a profile of Simon Ekpa, and I thought, who is this Prime Minister Ekpa? And yeah. So I became more and more intrigued. I went to his Wikipedia, I read it, talking about all the work he's doing, how he's based in Finland, and I became more and more intrigued. I was like, this is such an interesting person. I have to find out what's going on here. So I sent an email to the general email of the Biafra Republic Government Exile website, just saying that I was interested in learning more about the organization, because I was genuinely curious. This seemed very fascinating to me. And I received back an email personally from the Prime Minister saying he wanted to speak with me. So we spoke for the first time, and I was immediately impressed. I saw how brilliant he was. I saw that he was a visionary leader. I saw that he knew he was doing, how tactical he was. But most important, I saw that he had the special, intangible qualities of a leader and a historic leader. And I immediately knew there's something very special here. And this is something I've experienced with. I've dealt with leaders, presidents, prime ministers all over the world of different countries. My own family, I come from a revolutionary family in Greece where we've had many generations of freedom fighters. So I have a good instinct when it comes to who has leadership qualities. And I could tell, okay, this person has something very special. And if I work with him, I think we could actually achieve what he wants to achieve. Yeah. Yes. So over time, over many months, we developed a very close personal relationship. And also, he saw something in me, and he said, I really want you to get involved in this. I want you to be a part of this cause. And so I began formally my lobbying representation June this year, and I think in a few months, we've changed the course of history. So I think there are larger forces at play, and I'm very glad that Divine Providence has brought me into this and will see us through this and to the goal that we want to achieve. And when I first started this journey, when I first was presented by the Prime Minister to the Biafran people, I said that I'll not only be a lobbyist, but a fellow freedom fighter for the independence of Biafra. And today, I greet you as victorious independence fighters, because that's what you are. Yeah, my friends, this occasion is an illustrious one that will forever be in our hearts and will be passed along to future posterity as a seminal moment in our great struggle for freedom. The independence of Biafra will not only be a symbol of hope for the continent of Africa, but the entire world. Biafra will be a symbol of pride. In the 1960s, President John F. Kennedy and the United States government played an important role in supporting the decolonization of Africa and supporting various African independence leaders and African nationalist movements. President Kennedy understood that supporting the African people rather than the European colonists was not only the right thing to do and the moral thing to do, but in the interests of the United States, which at the time had been competing with the Soviet Union for influence in Africa and throughout the world. Similarly, in this new age of great power competition, the United States has an obligation to support the new African independence movements of the 21st century and put an end to the legacy of neocolonialism in Africa. And Nigeria is one of the worst examples of neocolonialism, a failed British project. And the rise of Biafra will put an end to this nonsense in Africa. As the Biafran government lobbyist from Washington, D.C., I've taken the Biafran message, or we could even say the Biafran gospel, to the highest levels. We have spoken to the Congress. We have spoken to the White House. We have spoken to the think tanks and the decision makers in Washington. As the finance minister said, we have met with and presented the Biafra Charter to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, the third highest level official in the United States government. And we've met with many members of Congress. The results have been overwhelmingly positive. We have received overwhelming support. We've already received many commitments. Not a single member of Congress or U.S. official that I've met with have expressed any support for Nigeria. So we're on the right track, and we're in a very good position as we move into the future. At this convention, we will have speakers from the most prestigious think tanks in Washington, D.C., including the Cato Institute, the American Enterprise Institute, and In Defense of Christians. We have seen the fruits of this engagement with powerful longtime U.S. diplomats such as Ambassador Tibor Nagy and the American Enterprise Institute, Dr. Michael Rubin, who will be speaking at this convention. Highlighting the plight of the Prime Minister's attention, even critiquing Finland for what's happening, which is very significant. And in fact, there are articles in the news recently talking about the shock that people have about U.S. officials supporting the Prime Minister during the current detention. So this shows you the impact of what we're doing. In the next upcoming U.S. presidential administration, I believe there will be a number of independent African states or emerging African states which will be which will have their independence recognized. Yes. There are already many discussions. There's already talk about, for example, recognizing Somaliland as independent from Somalia in the coming Trump administration. With our work in Washington, D.C., we will guarantee Biafra's on that list of countries to be recognized. We will achieve U.S. recognition of Biafra. We're already very close. We're not far away. And once we have that recognition, it will be very easy to get UN recognition, other recognition, as I've said before, where the U.S. leads, others follow. So we will get that. I have also, through my international contacts, interacting with world leaders, have put out feelers about Biafra to other independent states, including in Africa. As you heard, my good friend and my other client, the president of the Eritrean government in exile, recognizes and will be the first country to recognize the United States of Biafra. As President Badarai noted, while Eritrea gained independence from Ethiopia in 1991, the people of Eritrea have been under a brutal dictatorship since that time and have not had their freedom. And President Badarai wants to bring freedom and democracy to his people, and it's been an honor to represent his cause in Washington, and he is very strongly supported by our government over the current dictatorship in Eritrea. So his recognition by Biafra is very significant. And I believe through what he's doing, through other contacts we're making, I think we can get recognition for Biafra from other states in Africa and other countries as well. So we'll be having a lot of conversations outside the U.S. government with other governments that are sympathetic, and I think we can make a lot of international progress. Biafra's struggle for independence is a sublime one, in which the lands of its indigenous people can finally take control of their own destiny. For too long, the people of Biafra have suffered under colonial bondage and now neo-colonial oppression, being forced to be under the Nigerian yoke. With the declaration of the restoration of the independent state of Biafra, that is all finished with. Let us strive to create a new nation which will serve its people and be an example to the world. My fellow Biafrans, my fellow freedom fighters, long live independence, long live an independent and sovereign Biafra. Thank you.
Other nations that are having to struggle and to fight for their liberation. So we have the Ambazonian, but today we also have the Eritrean. So let us all be joyful, knowing that in an alliance with joint force, we are able to stand for the freedom of our people. So without not taking so much time, I would like to invite the Eritrean president to come up and really talk to us so that you will all also be encouraged to know that we are not alone. And that in an alliance where there are joint forces, victory is for the people. Without taking more time, I would like to invite you. Please come.
Good morning, everyone. Primarily, I want to thank everyone here. Everybody that came from everywhere. We all have a purpose. We have a reason. In that case, I think you guys made the house look beautiful. So I'm very proud to be part of it. So I'm glad, of course, to be part of this gathering. And this is for the announcement or declaration of the Republic of Biafran government in Lehi, Finland. But I'm also incredibly proud to be here, not only as a guest, but as a partner, a supporter, representative, and president of the Eritrean government in exile. I'm here to show solidarity, to support the Biafran movement for independence. And since I joined and accepted your fight for freedom, we have decided to work closely to achieve our common goal. Many of you may have recognized me on the social media, making some loud noises. It might not be as loud as Prime Minister's. We also have conducted a joint interview to show the world that we have created a bond with the Biafran people which is hard to separate. Well, it is funny today, the Prime Minister is supposed to be here to introduce me, but looking around, where could he be? He's everywhere. He's right here standing with me. He's right there with all of you. So you're right to say welcome to Prime Minister. So he's here with us. We are to tell the enemies, you cannot stop us from doing what we think we should do. We are not about dying. We are about multiplying. Of course, my name is Govt, and I am the president of the Transitional Eritrean Government in Exile. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and we have been in many publications alongside with the Biafran movement lately. Of course, we operate from the United States. We thought we'd get a lot of help as a base in the United States. We are represented by the law firm of the Moran Global Enterprise in Washington, D.C. The same office also represents the Biafran government in exile. So we are very close partner to work on the common cause. So the Biafran people are fighting for their freedom, for their independence from the Nigerian government. And the Eritrean people looking for freedom for their people from a very authoritarian regime of Eritrea. So we have a common cause to fight alongside each other. We are doing a marvelous job in Washington, D.C., thanks to our respectful lobbying firm. And right here, I'd like to recognize, if you may stand, Ilias Gerasleos. So thanks to them, we receive a lot of friends, a lot of people, a lot of ears that can listen to both of us. I've been in many meetings alongside with the Biafran government in exile. I can see what kind of job we're doing up there. I think we got the straight line right now. We walk in the straight line where it fits. So we're doing a great job. If I must correlate, what do we have in common? The Biafrans and the Eritreans both are under a very repressive and cruel and ruthless governments. Of course, Biafrans won their independence from Nigeria, and as I said, we won our freedom for 30 years, 33 years, of course, with no election, with no constitution, the gross violation of human rights, and we are known as the North Korea of Africa. Figure it out what it means. We are under a very brutal administration. Biafra had its independence 1967 through 1970. It was short-lived, thanks but not thanks to the Nigerian government that betrayed the trust of the Biafran people. And because of that, a very brutal civil war has been incited, and it did not have a good ending. The Biafran people and the Eritrean people, Eritrea gained from Ethiopia after 31 years war, and many lives has been lost on both sides. At birth of our armed struggle, we were called all sorts of names, including we were terrorists. But we were not terrorists. We were freedom fighters. And at this juncture, I see similarities. That they're going to name or tag a name on the freedom fighters of the Biafrans as terrorists. They are not terrorists. They are freedom fighters. As we know, yes, freedom is not free. It requires for us to pay a price. Now, Biafrans, for what we're doing, we just need to go to the next or shift to the higher gear. Renew our promises, renew our pledge to double down our efforts to stick together and give it all. Because I think this is the time. Today is the time, but not tomorrow. So we should be ready to pay any sacrifice that it demands. For the rest of the world, just to give you a hint or a background, why the Biafrans are looking for their independence. In 1960, Nigeria became independent from the United Kingdom, as with many nations of Africa. But the country's borders did not reflect earlier ethnic, cultural, religious, or political boundaries. Thus, the country's northern region, which has Muslims majority, primarily comprised of the indigenous Sokoto Caliphate territory, the southern population is predominantly Christian, and many consists of the territory of the indigenous Yoruba and the Igbo states in the west and east. Following independence, Nigeria was demarcated primarily along ethnic lines, which are the Hausa, the Fulani, the Yoruba, and the Igbo majority in the east. In that time, of course, there was ethnic tensions which simmered in Nigeria during the discussion of the independence. And it led to several ethnic and religious riots. Biafra was partially recognized, actually was fully recognized in that 1967 and 1970. And we had some good friends. That was like Gabon, Haiti, Ivory Coast, Tanzania, and Zambia. These are officially recognized the Biafra nation. And there were some that recognized as de facto recognition from France, Portugal, Israel, South Africa, and Rhodesia. Therefore, we are still looking for those friends to show up. History repeats itself. So as we do our fight, we should always remember who our friends are and who our enemies are. Despite it all, despite all these crimes by the Nigerian government, the Igbo nationalism, however, it became a solid political and social force after the Civil War. It has grown more militant, of course, starting in the 1990s, calling for the revival of Biafra. To get to your attention for some time, people thought the Biafran movement is dead. The Biafran movement is alive. The word that needs to be told to the world is what I'm saying. So because of the various forces that have emerged, but however right now, it is time for all the forces to join together for a common cause, focus on our fight to free the Biafran people against the main target, which is the Nigerian government. Biafra must unite in one front under umbrella of the Republic of Biafra government in exile and the leadership of Prime Minister Simon Ekpa'S. Yeah. What happened during this convention? Ooh, I smell some rotten eggs. Do I sense some suspicion? Prime Minister Simon is in prison? Why now? Could someone have a motive to sabotage the convention, which is a very important convention to restore the Declaration of Independence? But they were not able to stop us. We're still running and moving. Yes. They need to hear the Biafran voices loud and clear. When you cut one of us, we're not dying. Instead, we are multiplying into hundreds, thousands, and even millions until we reach the destination and the destination of freedom. This is a freedom fight not about if, but about when. Biafra deserves to be free. And it will be free no matter the cost it demands. The Biafrans have faced so many arrests, torture, disappearances, calculated repression, and even death by the Nigerian government. If that is the sacrifice is what is needed, Biafrans are ready to pay more life for the future free and democratic Republic of Biafra and for the freedom of their kids. In the journey for independence or freedom, of course, you will face many obstacles and challenges. You will cross through so many fences, but you must endure and work together as a united front against your sole enemy, the Nigerian government, in order to achieve your goal and avoid targeting at each other. Remember what all repressors have in common: divide and rule. No matter what they do, we must unite in order to defeat them. We must organize and galvanize our Biafran community whenever they might be, to support the movement for the freedom and the free Republic of Biafra for the benefit of all Biafrans. I think Biafrans are living under what I call a forced marriage by the Nigerian government. Anytime you have a forced marriage, it's not sustainable. It cannot live happily, in peace and tranquility. The forced marriage reached a point of no return. Biafra do not wish ill of the Nigerian people, but they are demanding a divorce today, not tomorrow. If possible, Biafrans desire for their independence at a minimum cost, for the sake of the Biafran people and for the sake of the Nigerian people. If it was able to achieve the freedom through peaceful negotiations, settlements, dialogue, mediation, in that case, Biafra is ready to engage, while realizing there is no such words as peace that exists in the vocabulary of the Nigerian government. So Biafrans are simply asking to be free in order to decide their future. The hurt this forced marriage is creating is very painful, and it's leaving a lot of scars in the heart, painful memories, which is hard to forgive and forget. Biafran hearts are bleeding. They want the divorce, the marriage to end today, not even tomorrow. I could not conclude my presentation without explaining and giving you the good news why the Eritrean government is also here at your convention. We come here equipped with our flag, with our national anthem, and a sharp pen. I am ready today to recognize the independence of Biafran government. Thank you. Yeah. So when we sign that agreement we will be the first nation to recognize the Biafran movement. And we ask other friends, other nations to follow suit. This should encourage for the rest to come, support the Biafran nation as the one before. There's nothing to stop them. For God's sake, 80 million population under repression, it is unheard of. So other nations should come and follow suit to support this movement of the Biafran people. We're going to do that. We're going to do that with a stroke of a pen, not a machine gun. So the enemies learn. You can do it peacefully. You can let Biafra free. So what can that accomplish? This even recognition and the Declaration of Independence. The sky is the limit now. The sky is the limit to go. It is waiting some work from us. With a little bit of diplomacy, yes, we can ask nations, yes, even go as far as to the United Nations to seek representation, come to the list as a observer nation, the same they do to the Palestinian nation. So we got a way to go, but it is doable. From here, nobody can stop you. As I finish my speech, I see some glimpse of light at the end of the tunnel. I think it is a light of hope. It must be a light of justice. It is a light of freedom. It is a light of peace. It is a light of love. It is a light of togetherness. It is a light of prosperity. It is a light of happiness. A light of Biafrans going home. And above all, I believe this is a light of an independent Biafran nation. God bless the Republic of Biafra. God bless the nation of Eritrea. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great Biafrans, we are very much encouraged. We want to thank Eritrean President Bagdurai for his noble words. Biafra, indeed, we are alive under the Biafra Republic government in exile. And we are going to get this done. Together in a joint force, we are going to focus on who are the problems. And we are going to know that there is nothing more fulfilling than freedom for our people. So without taking much time, I would like us to give another hand of applause to Eritrean President. Thank you so much. USB. So now we are going to go on with the program, and I'm going to be inviting Professor Choma to come up, and we go to the next agenda. We are going home, Biafrans. We are going home. Are you all ready?
Village and they drop bomb on my people. Yeah. Jets fight that pass on my village.
Yes, that's our Director General, Prof. Robi. Thank you, Professor Robi. And we thank the President of Eritrea, President Baduria. Thank you so much for being a friend of Biafra. Thank you. Great Biafrans, we know that we have a lot of dignitaries here. I know Biafrans at home and Biafrans here and every other place in the world are pumped because we have a lot of Biafra friends and well-wishers. And the next Biafra friend, our lobbyist, everyone knows him. In fact, we even call him our brother from another mother. So I call on our Minister of Finance, Minister Ogechukwu Nkere, to introduce our lobbyist, Elias.
Struggle autopilot until Nandi come out. Simon not the pilot. Go to hell, tell Elisa we know before.
Hello, Biafrans. Ogechi, Ogechi, Kama. Ogechi, Ogechi, Kama. Ogechi, Ogechi, Kama. Ogechi, Ogechi, Kama. Thank you, thank you. On behalf of my boss, my Prime Minister, I'm here again on the day 2 of our journey. And we have been going to Washington, D.C. lately, meeting with Congress, and we are opportune to meet with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. And if you all don't know, Mike Johnson is the number 3 ranking most powerful person on earth. After the president, you have the vice president, then the Speaker of the House. And we have met with a lot of Congress men and women, and we have somebody who make that happen. That is the Jimora firm. We have our lobbyist here with us, Elias. I call him my friend, and I call him my brother. So we have been in this journey together. Please welcome Elias. Elias been doing a really great job. Thank you. Take the stage.
And your commitment to this liberation. Like you rightly said, where United States go, others follow, and we are looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Elias. Our next agenda on the list is a presentation by the chairperson of the Biafra Business Department, no other person than Honorable Bridget Wajay. Please come up to the stage. Thank you.
All hail Biafra. All must hail Biafra. Please, let's all our brothers and sisters all over the world hear your voice. All must hail Biafra. That is better. Our consultant, Elias, said, where US goes, the whole world follow. And he has guaranteed us Biafra. All hail Biafra. My name is Bridget Wajay, and I am the Director of Businesses and Investment for Biafran government. And I am here as the chair of the business team. And so I'd like to welcome all of you, every one of you that is here. You have made history, all of you. You have made history for your family, all of you. You have made history for your village, all of you. You have made history for our homeland, all of you. Even those that are in the bush protecting us from going there, you have made history for them. It is you that matters. Without you here, there is no declaration. So open your mouth and say, all hail Biafra. All must hail Biafra. What our grandfathers couldn't do, what our grandmothers couldn't do, what our ancestors couldn't do, we have done it today. Where US goes. Excellent. I would like to offer my greetings to our leader, Right Honorable Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, who started all of this. He laid the foundation. So wherever he is, we salute him and we bless him and we tell him that he will come out because now we've got Biafra. I would also like to extend my greeting to the Right Honorable Simon Ekpa. He's actually watching us. He's actually watching us. He's actually monitoring us. He's actually encouraging us. He wants all of you to be strong. He wants all of you to be comforted. He wants you to continue to do what you do. Do not relent. Do not relent at all. God bless every one of you. Thank you so much. I bless all of you. And because I've come here on behalf of the business team, there are some business team that are within the audience. Can I please ask you with all due respect to stand up so that they can acknowledge you? You've done so much work. Every business team member that's here, some have not managed to come. There's Honorable Bernie, there's Honorable Famadina, there's Honorable Ngozi, and I can't see who's at the back. And there's Honorable Reverend Ebenezer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So within the business team, we have a lot of projects. And today, I've only brought 2 of the projects to you. We are not criminals. We are funding our project. We are doing our own stuff. We know where we want to go. And so do not relent. The fact that we've now got Biafra, there's a lot more work to do. There's a lot more work to do. The Bible said that weeping endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Our joy has come, Biafrans. So do not relent, please. This is the time to do a lot of work. And
I have something that has come over me. Anyone that knows me can hear me say always that I am not happy for the fact that our ancestors lived under the condition that they did. And I'm wondering,
Why did they do that? Why did it take so long? And then I swore that as long as I live, that I'm going to leave this place a better country and a better world for our generations to come. So the wind of victory and freedom in the air is just overwhelming. So I would like you all to say, victory and freedom for Biafra. Victory and freedom for Biafra. And this victory and freedom is going to be eternal. We will never lose it. Those that thought that by not telling our stories to our children is going to sink us, not knowing that they got us prepared. Now that we're up, nothing will ever stop it. We're going to sing it to our children. We're going to go to the top of the mountain and say it and then shout it and then dance on there. Our Supreme Leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, said, when this victory and freedom will come, we're going to dance on the streets and then they'll think, na maya na-egbu anyị. It's going to be eternal. And we will do everything to protect it. Getting the victory and freedom is just a part of it. The bigger thing is coming. Like I say all the time, I get Worogadan, Jerry, up to work. Freedom must be funded. It must be funded because anahabaka achwehi. If we do not fund it, then we may not be able to defend it. Getting it is one thing, and defending it is the greater thing. And that's why the IOU and everything that we're doing here to help us generate some finance to fund our freedom and to defend it. So on that, I'm going to call on, I'd like to acknowledge and call on Father Anthony Agowa. Father Anthony Agowa, are you here, please? Is he here? Father Anthony Agowa. Father Anthony Agowa, if you're here, please can you stand up and let's acknowledge you. Actually, I would like you to come up to the stage, Father Agowa, please, if you can. Remember, we're talking about funding victory, funding freedom, and funding to defend our newly freedom. Thank you, Father Agowa. Yeah. Not good. In talking about this freedom, Father Henry Agowa came up with an idea. Actually, I wasn't in the country when he brought this up. And then mentioned it. We showed it to our PM. He liked it and then said that we should work on it. Even though it was a very short-term project, just 2 months. But the PM said we should, go into it, even if it's a test project. Father Agowa, actually, can I give you this to say a little thing? You want to say something about how it came about? I'm going to let Father Agowa tell us the background or the basics of this Biafra Freedom Raffle. Thank you.
Freedom for Biafra. Biafra. So victory and freedom for Biafra. So we thank God for bringing us to this point and for what is going to happen in the years to come. So the journey has started. And we know once God has started with us, we are not going back. So, talking about the Raffle, I mentioned it to PM, and he was okay with it. He said I should talk with some members of the team. And the Raffle, those of us from Imo State, that's old Imo State. So we know the story of the Sam Mbakwe Airport. So the Sam Mbakwe Airport came because Mbakwe is one leader who identified with the pains of the people. He knew how hated our people are in that enclave, Nigeria. And then that these are people who travel a lot, and we have need for something like an airport. Those who travel a lot don't have an airport. So Mbakwe thought, how can we do this? If they don't have us at heart, we have to do something, just like the idea of our liberation now. So you cannot hate yourself when you are hated. So you build yourself in love, and that's what we did. So Mbakwe came up with the idea of the Imo Airport, the Raffle tickets. So I was a kid then, we were in the elementary school. So, and I identified with that project because of the jingle we had. My dad was also in the Biafra war. And a lot of times, he wouldn't want to talk about what happened. So you look at your dad, you know that there are things he doesn't want you to know about. He was at the heart of the war. So he died 3 years ago. So the idea of the raffle draw was, so Mbakwe now coordinated. We have to raise the money within. And we have to get everyone involved, even kids. And then the idea of the raffle draw came. And I still remember the jingle. You know, as little kids, when anything gets into the mouth of the kids, so it sells to the community. So the song then is Imo Airport here, Imo Airport here, Imo Airport here, Imo Airport onyo wola tinyaka ya ka anyị jero ya ehi na-enweghị ọdụ na chi ya na-egburu ya iji. So that was the song, and that is also the message for all of us. So the freedom is in your hands. Is in our hands. And it is our collaboration, our contributions that will lead us to what we dream for. So, and then that's what the idea of the raffle, we said, he did it, we got an airport. If all of us contribute too, by buying the tickets, by supporting the raffle for the liberation of Biafra, we will get our dream as quick as possible. So that's the idea of the raffle draw. Thank you.
Thank you for the AGOA. Thank you. And one thing he forgot to mention is the symbolism of the $20 raffle. Remember, after the 1967 to 1970 war, what we were given, our parents were given, was only bet 20 naira, right? Yeah. It's 20 pounds, I'm sorry. So that's the symbolism. And then we decided, now we're going to do this for $20, and this $20 is going to be for victory, and it's going to be for freedom, and it's a win.
Good afternoon, great Biafrans. My name is Simon Elomedogene, an Urobo-speaking Biafran, and what do I do? and I'm here to represent the media team, BRGIE, Biafra Writers of Conscience, BWOC. Still on the course, it says, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow countrymen, I welcome you to this historic and monumentous event, the Biafra Restoration Declaration Convention. Today, we gather to reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the sovereignty of Biafra as a nation-state. First, let us honor the towering giant on whose shoulder we stand. We extend our heartfelt regard to our eternal leader, our revered Chukwu Emeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, the visionary leader who boldly declared our sovereignty. We salute Philip Effiong, the courageous second-in-command who ensured the flame of hope never dimmed. We recognize Raffle Wazirike, the torchbearer who reignited the quest for Biafra against overwhelming odds. We celebrate our leader, Mazinan Dekano, whose bold voice galvanized millions into action, and Mazi Simon Ekpa'S Unjoko, the relentless fighter who continues the struggle with unwavering courage and tenacity, the one who has united us today. We salute all the brave heroes and heroines of Biafra from 1967 to 2024. Your sacrifice have borne fruit today. To the members of the Biafra Writers of Conscience, BWOC, your sacrifices are incredibly etched into the annals of history. You stood tall and defended Biafra when no one else had the courage to tell our story to the world. It is sobering to reflect that even before many of us were born, the seed of oppression against the Biafran people was sown. The artificial creation of Nigeria by the British colonial officer Frederick Lugard marked the beginning of the relentless campaign to subjugate and erase the identity of Biafra. Reports from the global human rights organizations, Amnesty International, the United Nations Working Group, and others have laid bare the atrocity committed against us. State-sponsored terrorism, enforced disappearances, illegal detention, and a corrupt judiciary who perpetuated a reign of terror. The Northern Nigerian Caliphate, driven by insatiable hunger of dominance, seek to uproot us from the ancestral land that belongs to us, forcing us into internally displaced persons camp, otherwise known as IDPs. They aim to exploit our resources while establishing a caliphate on our soil, a diabolical scheme supported by the state-sponsored terrorists masquerading as military forces. Let the world hear this clearly. The survival of Nigeria, in its current form, is an existential threat to Biafrans and a catalyst for the unchecked spread of terrorism across Africa. If left unchallenged, this evil will fester and grow, endangering the entire region. The agenda is to encapsulate in a chilling slogan: take everything from them and leave them with pain and death. For decades, they've plundered our resources, impoverished our people, and turned our land into a battlefield of misery. We remember with heavy heart the genocide that claimed millions of lives. Over 36 agonizing months, our men, women, and children were starved to death, their bodies abandoned as fodder for vultures. The world turned a blind eye in the process, deceived by propaganda that painted us as rebels, while we were merely defending our right to exist. Yet, despite their effort, they could not annihilate us. We are the descendants of survivors, and today we proclaim the unwavering resolve. We will not accept a life of subjugation. Our destiny is sovereignty. Our right to exist is non-negotiable. The restoration of Biafra is not just a political statement, it's a moral imperative. It's a call to secure the future of a people chosen by God to thrive and glorify his name, and not to be erased by machination of an artificial state. Today, We reclaim the narrative. Through the power of modern media, we dismantle the falsehood that have overshadowed our truth. We expose the injustices that have long been hidden and ensured the history never repeats itself. This moment marks the rebirth of our collective hope. It is the dawn of a new era, where every Biafran, wherever they may be, will rise to full potential in a sovereign nation built on justice, equity, and freedom. We are the children of resilience. We are the heirs of hope. And today we declare that the restoration of Biafra is not merely a dream, it is a destiny that is fulfilled. God bless Biafra. God bless the heroes and heroines of our struggle. And may He grant us the strength to see the vision through to total fruition. Long live the sovereign, independent United States of Biafra.
Thank you very much. Let me begin by saying...
Recording in progress.
Let me begin by saying Biafra exists. Biafra exists. When I analyze, it's important to recognize the obvious. It's willful blindness to embrace some of the excuses which the West uses to avoid discussing the autonomy, the freedom, the liberty, and the independence of Biafra. It is not climate change, but deliberate murder. Climate change doesn't hire Fulani gangs to rape and murder in Biafra. The authorities in Abuja do. And we need to recognize that reality. Too often, the State Department, the European Union, the African Union defer to the powerful against the weak. But that's not how human rights work. When it comes to the abuses of the Nigerian government, they must be held to account. When Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Muhammadu Buhari, the former president of Nigeria and a war criminal from the days of the first Biafra genocide, he took Nigeria off the State Department's religious freedom watch list. The United States and all other countries must calibrate our policies towards the reality of the way things are, rather than the way we wish things would be. The fact of the matter is, on any watch list for religious freedom, Nigeria should be on its blacklist. It should be its worst tier, because reality cannot be ignored, nor should human rights of all those in Biafra be swept under the bus. Frankly, if Nigeria spent as much energy hunting the perpetrators of violence against the Igbo as they do pressuring Finland to punish the free speech of Biafra's leaders, Nigeria would be a much better place. Unfortunately, rather than reform, rather than embrace liberty, rather than embrace self-determination, Nigeria seems to embrace transnational repression. And that is why all Biafra activists in Finland should be free. Now, a lot of people will look at Biafra and say, you know, we've never heard of Biafra. That reflects their ignorance and their ignorance of history, rather than the necessary reality. But then you will have some naysayers who will say, why are you declaring independence, re-declaring independence in Finland rather than in Biafra itself? And again, that reflects an ignorance of history for those who might criticize. After all, Czechoslovakia declared its independence in Washington, D.C., right near where I sit now. And no one suggested that the Czechs and the Slovaks didn't deserve their freedom. The fact of the matter is, when one faces a lethal threat and lethal repression, you need to assert your freedom wherever you may be, but that doesn't forfeit your rights to your homeland. So, when it comes to Biafra, what I see is everything being done right. Let me put it this way. Again, I say this as an academic. I've been to many places around the world in which people desire their freedom. I've been to Iraqi Kurdistan, Turkish Kurdistan, and Syrian Kurdistan. And I've written a book where, while I empathize with the Kurds, they are not yet ready for independence because they've not taken the basic steps to form a unitary government that can step into the vacuum on day one and lead their people. That is something that the Biafrans have, a mistake the Biafrans have not made. What I see today with the organization of the Biafrans has been absolutely and completely admirable. You are not simply symbolically declaring independence. You are setting in motion a government which can take over all functions of the government. Now, some people may complain that Biafra now has its own army, and they may say that is a terrorist action. They are wrong. It is the job of any government to monopolize the use of force within its territory. The Nigerian army is the occupying army right now. Its job is not to monopolize the use of force within Biafra, because they have shown when they use force, they use it not for security, but to perpetrate insecurity. They use it to murder, they use it to rape, they use it to charter buses, to bring in militias, so that people, naive people, may believe that they have nothing to do with what is going on in the region. Now, I'm a historian by training, which means I get paid to predict the past. Also, speaking of pay, let me be clear. I am receiving nothing for my advocacy for Biafra. I have been offered nothing, I have demanded nothing, and I am receiving nothing. Nor would it even be legal for me to accept money from anyone. I am speaking only as an analyst and only as someone who wants to further liberty. Now, I ask as a historian, where has it worked to force the victims of genocide together with their perpetrators? Where in history has that ever worked? Aggressors must understand that if they turn to genocide, they will always lose. The fact of the matter is, Nigeria lost Biafra in 1967. They may have won the war temporarily, but they permanently lost Biafra. The decisions they made 57 years ago forfeited any rights they have to control, to occupy, to speak on behalf of the people of Biafra. Let me conclude by saying, as an analyst again, I don't think the United States will be the first country to recognize Biafra. But I pray that it won't be the third country either. Biafra to move from Finland and to lobby vociferously, night and day, in order to ensure that the African Union recognizes that Biafra is already more organized, already more capable of statehood, already will have a higher standard of living, already will be at peace with itself and its neighbors more than many other African countries. And therefore, it will be a boon to Africa, a boon to the African Union, a boon to the spread of democracy in the region an anchor for stability in the region, in an area that is increasingly unstable, especially as people come from the north in order to destabilize. So let me conclude by saying with my very short remarks that I wish I could be with you there today. Family prevented me from coming, but I admire what you're doing, I follow what you're doing, and I pray for what you're doing. Long live Biafra.
I think Wagazie, yeah. It's okay, now. Okay. Would there be questions for Michael? Let me ask. Hey, Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am sure that they are listening. I am sure that the West is listening. Michael, I am sure the White House is listening. So, Michael, are you open to take one or two questions? If not,
yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So, does anyone have a serious question for Mr. Michael?
Hail Biafra. Mr. Michael, I thank you for taking the opportunity to speak to Biafrans, and we appreciate what you're doing. My question is, have you had a cup of tea with Donald Trump this morning?
I've had a cup of tea, but that's all.
We need to know. We need to know, with your own experience, what do you think Donald Trump will be saying at this moment?
Let me put it this way. Personnel is policy. Donald Trump is the president, but what matters are those who will be staffing him at the Undersecretary of State for Africa level, at the National Security Council, and the Pentagon. That is who also in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee separately. That is who needs to be lobbied if the Biafrans are going to convince the United States. Quite frankly, American attention right now is on China, it's on Russia, it's on Israel. It behooves the Biafrans to make sure that Biafra gets the headlines for the right reasons. If I may, and this isn't an either or, the Somalilanders have been at this for years and have made tremendous strides. You can jump over much of the preliminary work they have done to make your case. And given the Biafran diaspora in the United States, given the talent, given how vocal they are going to be your ambassadors. And so I do think it is possible that the United States will eventually see the light. Frankly, I don't think it's possible to go backwards. But as Winston Churchill once said, the United States always does the right thing. They just try everything else first. It's important to get through that process much quicker.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Sister Dominica Oleune. I'm from Olo State.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to take it to him? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I wanted to stay down because I thought I was very tall, but let me climb up here. I want to thank the Biafran government in exile for bringing Ambazonia team here today This is a wonderful opportunity. My legs are shaking, and I want to say it's a pleasure to have met and listened to Mr. Michael. In fact, I don't just know, I'm pumping out. And I want to make him to understand that Biafra and Ambazonia are seismic twins. I'm seeing him here. I was looking there. All right. Hello. Yeah, they are seismic twins. And I just want to ask you if you've also made some research on the genocide La République du Cameroon is emitting in Ambazonia, with the scorched earth policy, burning of villages, amputation, burning of fathers and mothers in their houses. And if that is done, that will be a very, very great thing for me to take home today. And hail Biafra.
Thank you very much. I am aware of the situation. I'm aware of the fighting between the Francophones and the Anglophones. I'm aware, based on the Cameroonian community in the United States, in Washington, D.C., who say and describe how much of a police state it is as soon as they land in the country, how they're afraid to go back. I've been in, I've listened to phone calls that people have put on speakerphone to hear about the situation back home. So I am aware of the situation. Aside from a brief airport layover in Douala, I've never actually been to Cameroon. And I would hope to be able to write more about it in the future. The closest I have gotten is to the Central African Republic. But look, without doubt, this is my frustration with the United States. Africa is the second most populous continent. It is, when I look at the economy of Africa, largely, the fact of the matter is Africa is the continent of the 21st century. And I find it shameful, the difference between the rhetoric of the United States and the reality of our policy. We should not be ignoring Africa anywhere. And that means not only the good news stories, but also the problems, such as what's happening in northern Cameroon.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, do you still have time for a few more questions? A lot of people.
Of course I do.
Okay, thank you. You won. Just a second. Thank you. Yeah, you can come.
Good day, Michael.
Good day.
How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
My name is Dr. Ngozi Orobweze. I am the Chief of Staff to the United States of Biafra. I thank you for your comments. Don't really have any question for you because what you've said is what any sensible, decent human being will say. But I just want to use this opportunity on behalf of my Prime Minister, our Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa, to thank you for standing up for Biafra. Please continue to do what you're doing for us. Biafrans and generations unborn will be very, very kind to you. That's all I need to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and I pray that we will be able to see him in person soon. Free from Finnish prison.
Thank you. Who? Oh, this one? Okay. So, Michael, we have a young man who wants to speak to you from the perspective of the youth of Biafra.
Thank you.
Hello, Michael. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, thank you so much.
That's good. So my name is Chimuchem Anyomere. My family have brought me out here today to understand about this fight for Biafra and this freedom. And my question is there any way or any advice that you can give to us to be able to, influence the other young students or young people who want to try and at least contribute or try and help out spreading the word and trying to get a lot of people to get involved with this freedom for our Biafra and everything?
Yes, my advice is always write, and write. but don't write simply for the Biafran community. You're writing for people who already agree with you. You want to write specifically for non-Biafrans. You want to write for people that disagree with you. You never want to look at someone as your enemy, but rather as someone who is wrong and needs to be convinced to be right. And if you push them into a corner, it's natural human nature that they're going to dig in their heels. But if they are, if it's not a personalized discussion, but rather a discussion of facts, then they can save face when they switch sides and understand that freedom and liberty for Biafra matter. So write for university newspapers, write for school newspapers, write for local newspapers, and write for national news outlets. What I would always say, again, as a writer, and this is something that I've always scratched my head about. You can see I've scratched all my hair off. The fact of the matter is that people will say, not on the Biafra issue, but on other issues, I wrote a letter to the New York Times and they refused to publish it. So I'm emailing it around and the letter is 2,000 words long.
Wow.
But New York Times letters are only 125 words. It's not that the New York Times disagreed with Biafra. It's that the letter didn't fit the format. So my advice as someone who's published more than 4,000 op-eds, articles, book chapters, and so forth, is you always look at the other letters, articles, and so forth that are published, and you copy the style. Precisely. No one is going to make an exception for you. So once you get the system, it's actually easy to get published. Editors need a lot of material. I would also say, and I say this, one of my jobs is as an editor. Editors can be very lazy people. If I have two pieces that come in, and one is already perfectly edited and only takes me 5 minutes to go through, and the other one is a mess and takes me 2 hours to work on, I'm going to go on the one that takes me 5 minutes.
Okay.
And so it's important that the editor's job isn't to make it publishable. It's the writer's job. But you guys have the content. You guys have the facts on your side.
Right.
It's just a matter of figuring out how to get them to the public.
Okay.
And for that, I commend your energy.
Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless everyone. Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Michael, for your support. My question is, why do you think the West, who always clamor for human rights, prefer to partner with these repressive regimes in Africa at the expense of human life?
You know, it's a great question. And it's something that's frustrated me in other contexts. First of all, there's two types of it. Let me put it this way. When George Shultz was the United States Secretary of State under Ronald Reagan, whenever a new U.S. ambassador would be nominated to go to a different country, George Shultz always invited him into his office on the 7th floor of the State Department, and he had a big globe there. And he would tell the ambassador nominee, show me your country. And God forbid, if that ambassador pointed to Gabon or Senegal or Somalia or Kenya, George Shultz would say, no, never forget that your country is the United States of America. The point of this is that some ambassadors believe that they are successful if they have good relations with the country to which they are sent. But that's not the job of the ambassador to be liked by the president, the prime minister, or the dictator. It's the job of the president to advocate for United States national interests. And I would argue that United States national interests are at their strongest when they are backed by liberty and moral clarity. So rather than have an ambassador who simply wants to have good personal relations with an undemocratic leader and therefore endorses undemocratic things or ignores real problems, it's essential that we stand with moral clarity, even if it makes for an uncomfortable meeting. This is why personally, and I wrote about it at the time, I was so disappointed when Secretary of State Antony Blinken, a man who based his legitimacy at his Senate confirmation on the fact that his father-in-law was a Holocaust survivor, when he ignored and took, when he sat with Muhammadu Buhari and when he took Nigeria off the religious freedom watch list. You know, politicians and diplomats don't like to be criticized. And when you see such hypocrisy, if you write about it, and I'm going to the previous question now, that is something which they will notice. They may not want to admit that they are making a mistake, but they will read the criticism and hopefully not make the same mistake twice. So part of the problem is the culture of the American State Department and, frankly, the British Foreign Office and so forth. But part of the problem is that the Biafrans need their voice to be amplified far beyond the borders of Biafra and far beyond the confines of the communities within the diaspora.
Thank you, Michael. No. Last question.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate you. I have two
Thank you.
questions for you.
Okay.
Yes. Can you please promise the Biafran people that you will keep exposing the Nigerian government and keep exposing the atrocity, and you do the best you can to write up more, whatever you can, to speed up the release of our leader, Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa, which I call my boss. I came across one of your tweets. That was really good. We appreciate you. Please promise the Biafran people that you will keep helping us in fighting our cause. We look up to you, and we believe that you know what we are fighting for, and we really appreciate you. And can Biafran people hear from you? Can we hold you accountable with your word that you will always be with us?
Yes. The short answer is yes. The longer answer is the American Enterprise Institute is a nonprofit. I am given the authority to write about whatever I want. There is no pay to play. I am not a lobbyist. I accept no money for my writing. I write based on the principle of what I see, with an effort driven only by me to pursue and to try to change American policy to what I believe would be more just. And therefore, when it comes to me, you don't need to worry about any contract running out or anything like that. That's not why I'm involved. And again, I will never accept any money from a Nigerian. I will never accept any money from a Biafran. I will never accept any money from a lobbyist. I'm doing this because it's right, and therefore I will continue to do it. It's a publish or perish world for an academic, and I'm hooked on the Biafran cause.
Thank you very much. One more, again, Congressman Jim Moran, which I know you know, and he's our lobby. And we actually have an alliance here with us as well. Can you as well promise Biafrans that you will work closely, I know, with your, what you're doing, and Congressman Moran and alliance, they'll be doing a good job, that you work closely with them as well to bring justice for Biafran people. Thank you.
If I may just say, I've testified in Congress before Jim Moran when he was in Congress. And the congressman and I disagree on everything. It wasn't a pleasant hearing for me, and it may not have been a pleasant hearing for him. But, sometimes principle unites. And whatever disagreements we may have on other issues, they don't extend to Biafra. And it's a pleasure to work with allies wherever one can find them on any side of the aisle. Biafra should not be a partisan cause in the United States. It should be a cause of principle, and therefore I know that we will continue to work towards a common goal when it comes to justice and freedom and liberty for Biafra. I commend Jim Moran for what he's been doing because partisanship doesn't come into play with it.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Robin, thank you very much for your commitment in putting the truth out there to the public. On behalf of the Prime Minister, as the government representative in Europe, and I also live in Finland here, in your own words, what would you tell the Finnish authorities right now in regards to the allegations of incitement by our Honorable Prime Minister?
Finland's got to be on the right side of history. Finland especially should live up to its status, its claim as being the freest country on earth. That's what Freedom House ranked it as. And right now, they're endangering their status. I should note that this isn't just a Nigeria-Finland issue. When there was an argument, when there was an effort for Finland and Sweden to join NATO, Turkey tried to blackmail both, but mostly Sweden, in order to betray Kurds, and Kurdish dissidents and Kurdish free speech in Sweden, in order to get Recep Tayyip Erdogan to drop his objection to Sweden's accession to NATO. And in the end, Sweden betrayed its principles. And Recep Tayyip Erdogan, while he allowed Sweden in NATO, gratuitously humiliated Sweden. Finland should not allow itself to be gratuitously humiliated by a country that violates religious freedom, by a country that violates democracy, by a country that has been guilty of genocide. Finland must be better, and they must recognize that they should not be an arm of transnational repression.
So, my beautiful family, after everything that I have shown to you, after I carried you along through the declaration of Biafra happening live in Finland, are you still convinced, or you are still thinking these are all Photoshop? Hey, please drop your opinion in the comment section, everything that you have seen, heard, and come across today. Thank you, and stay tuned as I give you all the updates. Thank you, and I'll be right back.